Welcome to the Candle Business Coach Podcast, a show about the craft of candle making and small business. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I'm a candle maker, mum of three, and kindness advocator. Join me as I dive into all things candles and small business and deliver advice and tips to you in episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Are you on the list to get my daily motivation emails? Every day I'll send you a message that is designed to help keep you focused on taking action toward your goals. Sign up using the link in the show notes. This episode is brought to you by my free ebook, The Candle Business Marketing Kickstarter Kit. Inside this free ebook, you'll learn to identify your blocks of time to dedicate to your candle business. Plus, there are several tips and tricks for re-engaging past customers and attracting new customers into your business so you can grow your business and reach your goals. Check out the link in the show notes for your copy. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. Today we have the beautiful Anna from Email by Design with us to talk about email marketing and email automation. So Anna, would you like to say hello to the listeners?
Hi everyone, thanks so much for listening today, and thank you Kirsty for having me on the podcast.
Perfect. So do you want to give us a little bit of background about what you do and what your business is all about?
Sure. So I own an email marketing agency. We service clients that use the platform Klaviyo, which is an incredible ESP, email service provider, for e-commerce brands. So we work with small businesses to nail their email marketing strategy using Klaviyo, and some of our managed clients can get up to 50% of their revenue coming from email marketing. So it is a really powerful marketing channel.
That's incredible, up to 50%. It's huge.
Yes. So that does require a lot of work to get there on both, the automation side and the campaign side, but it is definitely possible for your brand. And, candle brands do really well on Klaviyo.
Yeah, fantastic. It's so important. I know with email marketing, it's sort of an untapped resource as to a way to build revenue and to build that know, like, and trust between yourself and the customer. But to be able to get those sorts of results using programs that allow you to automate and do things in the background is so important to bring awareness to. And I know for the candle makers out there that might just be starting, email marketing might seem a little bit scary. So hopefully this episode will help to alleviate any of those concerns or thoughts.
100%. I do find, some clients are a little bit scared to email their list, but I promise you your audience does want to hear from you. And if they don't, they will simply unsubscribe, which is totally fine.
That's right. And we can check our stats along the way. If they're opening the emails and clicking through the links, then they're interested in what you're sending and they want you to send more emails to them. It makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what drew you to email marketing as a career?
My background is actually, I was a primary school teacher for many years. Then I had my babies and started an e-commerce brand of my own, which was actually a party stationery brand. And I did that for a long time, and that was good when my babies were little. It worked for me then. And all of a sudden, Klaviyo started getting talked about a lot on different Facebook groups. And, everyone was jumping from MailChimp over to Klaviyo. And at the time, I was doing a little bit of business development for another brand. And they sort of said to me, can you help us figure out this Klaviyo thing? We want to set it up. Can you give it a go? And I was like, okay, well, I've never used it before, but I had used MailChimp and I was used to setting up automations for my e-commerce brand. So I thought I'd give it a go. And the first day that I used Klaviyo, I just fell in love with how easy it was to use, how powerful it was. And it was just, a pleasure to use, unlike MailChimp, which can be very clunky. And so I sort of got a few flows set up for them, and we could see the revenue coming in within hours of setting it up. So it was really, really exciting. And then, we sent out our first campaign and we saw thousands of dollars of orders come through. So it was very, very exciting to see. And I thought, this would be something really great to offer as a service because it is quite hard to use Klaviyo if you're not sort of used to the platform. And then I did my Klaviyo partner training through Klaviyo and became a master partner. And we are now a gold master partner, which is exciting.
That's incredible. Well done on your journey so far. I know that when I first started using when I first started using MailChimp, I found the same thing. I found it quite clunky and not user-friendly. And then when I started using Klaviyo, I thought
it's just so much more intuitive and
Yes.
able to, like, the flow for yourself to create flows for your customers just makes so much more sense. So thank you for being part of the podcast and sharing how it all works, because I know that the listeners that haven't set up their email will have lots of questions about how to actually go about setting it up, what the best platform is to use, how to do it, how to set it up in the background so that it just works for you like another employee. So I guess the first point, or the first question I want to ask, is how do we actually start an email list?
Sure. So there's a few ways to do it. So you pretty much got to start from zero. One of the easiest ways to start collecting email subscribers is actually through your website checkout. So usually you can have a little box that says add me to your mailing list, and you can, with Shopify anyway, you can have that box pre-ticked. So that's one way to gain consent and start growing your list. Another way is to use embedded forms on your website. We'll normally see these in a footer where it'll sort of say, you can be offering something, or you can just be asking for the email address. And then another way is through pop-ups. And, a lot of people say they find pop-ups annoying, but when you look at the stats, it's the pop-ups that do get the best opt-in rate. So it is worth turning on for your site. So that's 3 ways you can grow your list just through your website.
Yeah, that's right. And just touching on that, on the pop-ups, I know because it literally pops up in front of you, it grabs your eyeballs, like it grabs your attention, so that you're more likely to read what it says and then go, oh, okay, so they're going to offer me a discount if I give my email. Sure, I'll give my email, and then that person then becomes on your list. So yeah, it's a good idea. And I think there's such a fear around annoying, I'm using quotations, about annoying our customers or potential customers and scaring them off. But if someone is going to be affected by a pop-up, or if they unsubscribe, well, then they weren't going to be your customers anyway. So it's important just to do what you can do, control what you can control. And if you want to grow your business, you need to think what a big business would do. They've got pop-ups, they've got embedded forms, they're sending out emails regularly to their list. So it's important to work through that mindset challenge and just start sending emails, because of the results, as you say, if you can get up to 50% revenue, 50% conversion and improve your revenue, why wouldn't you try it? Why wouldn't you continue down that path?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So when it comes to a candle business specifically, what do you think would be the most effective opt-in? Perhaps a percentage discount, or a monetary discount, or even a freebie or an ebook or something? What would you recommend?
Look, I think it's good to test multiple opt-in strategies to try and get the best possible result, because, if you can lift your opt-in rate only a few percent, that will make quite a significant difference to both your list growth rate and your rate of first-time customer. So test different opt-ins and see if you can get it to about 10% opt-in rate, maybe even higher. I would say typically I would see a 10% off. That's a pretty standard 10% off your first order. So if you're not sure what to do, you could start with that one. If you're trying to increase the average value order, you might prefer to give, say, $10 off orders over $80, something like that. I've also seen a free gift or a free sample with your first order work extremely well and get a very high opt-in rate. So I would say test those 3 to start with and see which gets the best result for your brand.
Yeah, that's right. It's not necessarily just starting off with one method and seeing if that is getting you the results that you're wanting. Try a few different things and see what your target audience responds to, because every candle business has a different niche, or they should have a different niche. So they wouldn't necessarily have the same target audience, and how they respond to different opt-ins will depend on what the audience is actually wanting from your brand.
That's it, exactly.
So what sort of content should we actually put in our emails when we're sending emails to our list?
So probably the accounts that I see performing best have a really varied content calendar. So they're not just only sending about sales or only sending about new product arrivals. They're sending a range of topics. So it might be, some collabs they're doing with influencers. It might be, offering something of value to the audience, some kind of ebook or tips or a blog post. So having that mix of value add topics mixed in with your more promotional style emails can work really well.
It's so important to add value where we can to our customers and potential customers, not just come from the angle of buy my candle, buy my candle. If we're adding value, then we're building that know, like, and trust, which means we're more likely to get that conversion or that sale when we do ask for it in between all the other content that we're providing to our customers. So that makes sense.
That's right, exactly.
How often should we send emails? Daily, weekly, fortnightly? Is there a tried and true method?
There's not really a tried and true method, but this is a question I get asked a lot. And I always say to each client, pick whatever frequency that you can handle as a business owner. So one of the worst things you can do is sort of send 5 emails during Black Friday, then not send any emails for 6 months and then go, oh no, I haven't emailed my list in 6 months. What do I do? So whatever frequency you can handle as a business owner, pick that and stick to it. And then you can always, add more as your confidence grows and as you get a bit faster getting the emails out and you get into a better pattern. But for some of our managed clients, they're actually sending up to 3 campaigns a week, sometimes even 4, which seems a lot. But it is possible when you segment your list by engagement and send to the most engaged subscribers. And it's also possible when you do have that varied content calendar. So you are providing value as well as the promotion, doing the promotions.
Yeah, and it's about that consistency. You don't want to sporadically send emails and just focus on the sales or the promotions that you're offering. You want to be able to add value where you can and do it consistently so people can, it's like you're training your audience to expect emails from you on a consistent basis, whether that's weekly, twice weekly, fortnightly, whatever, as you say, you can handle. Being able to be consistent is not only good for yourself, but it helps your customers know when to expect emails from you as well.
That's exactly right. And that's when you'll see, the unsubscribe rate will become lower because your customers will get into that habit of being like, oh, it's Thursday. I know that Anna's going to email me today. And some of my clients even have specific send times on specific send days. So, it's really predictable. You're not surprising your audience in any way.
Yeah, that's right. There's a few businesses that I've subscribed to myself. And I know that at 7 p.m. on a Thursday, I always get an email from them. And if it ticks over 7 and I look at my email, I go, oh, I haven't received an email from you. It's like you become aware of when they're sending and what sort of content you're going to receive from them as well. So it becomes like almost like a background relationship with the business that you subscribe to. That's if you're on top of your emails as well, on a personal level, if you're not drowning in your own emails.
Yeah, I'm an inbox zero kind of girl, so I don't like to have a lot of inboxes, emails inbox.
Yes, I'm completely the same. Like if it gets above like 5 or 10, I start panicking because I just think it's just too many emails. And then I've got friends that have got literally hundreds and thousands of unread emails in there. And I'm like, how do you function with that many emails that are just sitting there? Oh, it stresses me out.
When you start your candle business, there are so many things to consider and research along the way, especially when it comes to choosing the right suppliers. Long Story Short provides all your design and printing needs, from your logo and branding to designing and printing your product labels. The quality is exceptional, the customer service is amazing, and prices are very reasonable. They're the only label company I recommend, so check out their website or send them an email today to get started. hello@longstoryshortdesign.com.au.
So how important is storytelling in our content?
Look, I think it depends what your brand is. If storytelling isn't your strong point, I would not let that hold you back from sending emails. A lot of e-commerce brands send very visual, image-heavy emails. But definitely, if you have a passion for copywriting, if you know your audience enjoys your storytelling, if you're finding that's working for you on socials, then totally bring that over to your emails, because, being a little bit vulnerable and making that personal connection to your audience is only going to make them more engaged and more likely to buy from you.
Yeah, because you seem more human in a way if you're able to share more about who you are behind the brand rather than hiding behind your brand, intentionally or not. But being able to weave in that storytelling and sharing of information and being vulnerable, like you say, is so important. I know that the emails that I enjoy personally reading are the ones that where you feel like you're actually connecting with the person on the other end of the email. It's not just a stock image and a random caption or anything. It's the ones that you can really connect in with and feel that connection with them. They're the ones that I'll click through on and usually purchase from, because you feel like you've got that connection with that person.
Yes, definitely. I totally agree there.
So what are some automation options we can utilize? I know that the welcome flow is really important, but what does that actually involve? Can you explain?
Sure. So the welcome flow is sort of your main flow. It's generally the highest converting flow, and it's the flow that's linked to your main list. And then your forms, the ways they can opt in are also pointed into that flow. And the point of a welcome flow is to nurture a potential new customer and turn them into a purchasing customer.
Perfect. So how many emails would you recommend having in a welcome flow?
Typically, I see welcome series that are between 3 to 5 emails long. If you have a very, very lengthy email welcome series, you'll often see a high number of unsubscribers. As it goes down, people do lose attention pretty quickly. So I would say ensure each of your welcome series emails has a purpose. Don't just pop an email in there for the sake of putting more emails in there. So, use the opportunity to tell your brand story, to showcase your products, to highlight, why your customers will love purchasing from you, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's about spending that time writing those emails, whether it's 3, 4, or 5, for example, and having them all set out. So then once you've created the welcome flow and you're uploading those emails into the flow, they work for you in the background. So you're not having to respond to every single person that's opting in. It just becomes this automation that's behind the scenes that's helping to nurture that relationship with potential customers. And as you say, turn them into purchasing customers as well.
That's it.
So what about an abandoned cart?
Yes. So apart from the welcome series, there's definitely other flows that I recommend having. So abandoned cart would generally be the next highest revenue flow, and it is triggered by someone adding some items to their cart and not completing their purchase for whatever reason. They might have gotten distracted, or they weren't sure what the shipping rate was going to be, something like that. So it just reminds them to come back and complete their purchase. Generally, I suggest a series of 3 for that. And out of the box, Klaviyo has some flow filters, so it will prevent anyone that's made a purchase from receiving the subsequent emails.
Yes, which is important.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the
purchase.
Yeah, that's right, and that's one of the most important features of Klaviyo, is that it's so powerful in its segmentation and knowing what customers have clicked through and who have purchased and how it all works behind the scenes. So yeah, being able to recover those abandoned carts, even if it's 1 in every 5, 1 in every 10, doesn't matter. You're then getting that sale, whereas you wouldn't if you didn't have that flow in place.
Exactly. And then apart from the abandoned cart, there's some other ones that would be good for most candle brands. One's called the browse abandonment, and it's similar to abandoned cart, but it's just triggered when someone views a product, but they haven't added to cart. Klaviyo will recognize them because they've opted in or purchased previously. So that can be another good one. Klaviyo also has a replenishment flow, which is perfect for consumable brands like candle brands. And that one sort of will populate the customer's last order, and they can skip the checkout and just go straight through to the cart page and, other way around, straight through to the checkout page and purchase straight away. And it also can recommend, they might like to try something new instead. So that's another really good one. And then a post-purchase thank you flow that goes out to people who have purchased the day before, and that can be a nice touch point to get your customers excited about their purchase arriving to them.
Yes, that's right, because often as soon as you've clicked that purchase button, you almost look outside and go, where's the postman? Where's my delivery?
Yes.
I want my order now.
Yes, that's it. So they're probably the main ones. And then, some other great automations would be if you sell products that go out of stock, Klaviyo's back in stock flow, that can get people queued to receive a notification when the product is restocked. And then a win back flow that goes out to people that haven't placed an order in a while. So generally, if you've got, at least 6 flows live, that will be generating consistent revenue for you month on month.
That's incredible. And it's so, I know from the outset, you can have that fear or that uncertainty about how to set it up and how it works. But not only are there people like yourself that can guide like the listeners or the candle makers through this process, But there's also YouTube and just being open to learning the process as well. As we said before, like Klaviyo is quite intuitive and you can follow the steps to set up these things. But often we don't do it because it's the unknown and we're unsure about how to do it. And that can sometimes be enough of a mindset hurdle to completely stop you from even looking at email marketing or any other new marketing channel. But the benefits that come with having email marketing set up and having those automations, it's huge. Like I just think as soon as you become aware of email marketing, you need to prioritize it and set it up, because once it's set up, then it's just a matter of tweaking the messaging here and there, tweaking the flows, the timing. You can really go into the metrics of it. But once you've actually got the bulk of it done, as we said before, like it just happens in the background and it helps to grow your business. And if you're serious about growing your business, you can't ignore the power of email marketing.
I completely agree. It really is worth both taking the time to invest in, building out the platform and taking the time to invest in learning whatever platform you're going to be using, because the more you know about the platform that you're using for email, the more sales that you're going to be able to generate for your brand.
Yes, definitely. And it's not to be seen as, it's just another thing to do. This is the basis of how you grow a business. And email marketing, that's what the big businesses do as well. They're sending out emails, they're sending them consistently, they're adding value, they've got that content rather, and they're able to communicate that with their customers and potential customers. And if you want to grow your business, you need to think the same and do the same.
Completely agree.
So does segmentation make a difference?
Segmentation is really important. So basically, if you're not sure what segmentation is, it means dividing your list up into groups of people that have taken a certain action or have a certain property about themselves in common. So segments can both be used to trigger flows, and they can also be used to send very targeted campaign sends. So generally for most of my clients' campaign sends, when I'm setting up the segmentation, I will be sending to the most engaged subscribers. So those are the people that have opened an email or clicked an email recently, visited the site recently, made a purchase recently, or subscribed to the list recently. So, sending to those most engaged subscribers for the majority of your sends actually allows you to get away with sending in a higher frequency. And you'll also see better results in terms of open rate, click rate, revenue rate.
Yes, definitely. It's not just you're sending every email to every person every time. It's about being strategic in who you're emailing, what content to, at what time, on what day, and being strategic about what you're actually doing, which can take practice. But once you start to get into the habit of setting up your emails, sending them out, building your confidence, becoming more familiar with the whole process, as you say, you'll start to see increased click rates, increased sales. And that's what the whole point is. That's what you're aiming for.
Exactly. And, you will improve at sort of analyzing the data and starting to see patterns. So you might start to notice that things like, if I send in the morning, a lot more sales come through, or if I send in the evening, the open rate's better. So looking for those patterns and then doubling down on what's working is a really great way to improve your results.
Yes. And being mindful that these things take time to figure out. It's not just set something up once, hope for the best. Well, I mean, you still hope for the best, but you don't necessarily stick with what you've initially started with. It's about evolving the process, learning as you go and learning as you grow as well.
That's right.
So what are some regulations and legalities around email marketing?
Sure. So you do need to get explicit consent to email people. It's not enough that they've just sort of, popped in their email address in the checkout. They have to have explicitly said, yes, add me to your list, either through the checkout or through a sign-up form. So that's probably the most important one. Also, your email footer, you need to put your business full name, address, and make it easy for them to unsubscribe. So a clear unsubscribe link. If you don't put that unsubscribe link, Klaviyo will actually automatically add it anyway, but just be mindful of that. It will look better and more on brand if you include that in all your campaign sends. So they'd probably be the main things to keep in mind.
Yes. And as we said before, there's a fear and I've heard this from multiple people recently, multiple candle makers, that if I have an unsubscribe link in the email, are they more likely to unsubscribe? And it's like, well, you have to include it. It's not an option.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to allow
it's
the person to Yeah, you have to give them the option to unsubscribe, because you need to be mindful that not everyone will want to receive every email or be on your list all the time. You want to make sure that people can opt in easily and unsubscribe easily. And that's just the nature of email marketing.
That's correct.
So we've come to one of my favorite parts of the podcast, where I ask all my guests 3 specific questions. Okay. So question number 1, what is your favorite candle fragrance?
Oh, I like sort of fruity ones, like a pineapple and lime or coconut. I do like the fruity scents, and probably the tropical fruit scents.
Yes, it sort of whisks you away to a warmer place in the world.
Yes, yes.
Number 2, what do you love about candles?
I think I like the routine of it, like, after you've tidied the house, putting on a candle and just, signifying that you can relax now because you've got your chores done. I think I like the routine of lighting candles, and it just makes home feel more cozy.
Love it. And then number 3, what is one piece of advice you'd like to give to candle makers during their journey?
I would say, I'm going to relate it to email. I would say, don't be scared of emailing your list. Your list does want to hear from you, and, focus your attention on email marketing, particularly for consumable brands like candle brands. It can generate up to 50% of your revenue. So you'd be absolutely crazy to ignore it. And, if you need some help with your email, just reach out to an expert like me or any of the other Klaviyo partners on the Klaviyo directory, and we'll be happy to help.
Love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share about email marketing in general?
One good hack is to sign up, and I know we've touched on this earlier, sign up to bigger brands than your own brand. So, sign up to those big brands that are within your niche, see what they're doing with their list, see what subject lines they're doing, see what offers they're putting out there, see the frequency they're sending in, and that can give you some really good sort of inspo for what to do with your own brand.
Such good advice. Anna, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. Your wealth of knowledge is quite vast when it comes to email marketing, and I know that we'll probably get a few emails or questions from the listeners wanting to know a little bit more about you and your services. So where can people find you online?
Yes, they can find me at my website, which is www.emailbydesign.com.au, and also on Facebook and Instagram under the handle Email by Design as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you again. And it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Kirsty.
Thanks everyone for listening today. I hope this episode added value to your candle making journey. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout today's show, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for listening. Have a beautiful day.